Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Inspire Radio. You're here with Jack.
And Danny.
And Hayley.
And thank you all so much for joining us. And especially again to you, Hayley. It's so lovely to have you here.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
I am too. And we are more than happy to have each people learn as it just goes through times that, as we were saying, you've got a child with special needs, and I hear that you've had tough challenges through that in the past, and I can't imagine what that would be like for you. Would you say, necessarily in your own words, not that it's been hard, but just you struggle?
We have had times where we have struggled. We try and keep as positive as we can and focused as we can. We had some really dark times early on, but now at the moment we're in a really good space, and so there is definitely not just light at the end of the tunnel, there's a bright shining light at the end of the tunnel, which is fantastic. So, but we have had our difficult times.
That's lovely. I think it's horrible when your life goes upside down sometimes, but if you get to a better place, which is what you've done now, I can certainly see that you're feeling much more happier towards every day that comes.
Definitely.
Yes. So your child's were 16 and 11, is that what you said for?
No, 16 and 19. So
yeah, 16 and 19.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And they love playing on computers, if I can just verify that.
Yes, definitely. So
yes.
Very much love IT and love the internet and gaming.
Yes. Another one of my favourite hobbies to do, because I'm the kind of guy that likes to get out in the community, if you ask me. I like to socialise with friends, talk, even talk to people, about how they're feeling sometimes. And Danny and I actually go out with each other sometimes, because we don't only just work at the radio, but he's also involved in an organisation called Mabel, which is a disability organisation where the person comes to your house and they get to meet you and find out what you're interested in for your hobbies at first. Mm-hmm. But he's been doing it for a while now. We discussed that before, but he's been saying that he's been enjoying every single minute of it.
Yeah,
we go out on Saturdays and he gets a cocktail and starts dancing.
I know, I do.
He's a chick magnet, he reckons.
Sometimes I just can't stop getting the giggles sometimes.
Good.
But with your son, does he go out in the community and stuff like that, or is it very high functioning that he sort of just runs his own, goes out with his own friends as well, or does he go out in the community with a support worker and have a little bit of help with it?
That's one thing that we haven't really been able to nail. So at the moment, he's very homebound. Yeah. He doesn't, other than going to school, he doesn't like going out. So anything about change can be difficult, and he really likes his own environment and his own company. He is starting to communicate more with people online and have relationships online, but the personal connection is difficult.
Yeah, face to face.
Yeah.
Face to face.
Yeah. Because I had someone with quite severe autism that I used to see as well, and yoga. He used to do yoga with me, and I would go and do yoga, and he found that really peaceful as well, because obviously there's a lot of people in the room at the start. You have to get used to it, but it's just usually the same people that go all the time. So do that and calms you down. At the end, you meditate as well. So it's really found that really, really good for him as well.
I suppose with Blake, however, having the ADHD and the autism as a combined diagnosis makes things a bit more difficult, in the fact that he doesn't like to sit still and doesn't like to concentrate. But in saying that, when he does concentrate, it's giving the concentration to a next level from a normal person, because it's a lot more highly concentrated. So, but that they're in short spurts rather than long-winded. So, but yeah, he's definitely in a lot better place. So when he was 8, he was put on some bad medication that sent him psychotic. He was hospitalised for 3 weeks because he was that angry and aggressive all the time that he was uncontrollable and unpredictable. And my oldest son moved out of home for 3 months because it wasn't safe for him to be in the house with Blake. And I actually moved out for about 6 weeks when he came home from hospital. So because it was in a bad, I suppose he was very unpredictable. So it got to the stage where we had broken windows and smashed doors and smashed walls, and just for no reason at all, he would have a meltdown. So we've been able to manage that, and touch wood, I can't remember the last time he had a meltdown. So, which is fantastic. So, yeah, we've gone from a child that was completely uncontrollable to one that is self-regulating, which is fantastic.
Amazing, really good, really good. And now as you say, there's a big light at the end of the tunnel. Has a lot of aspiration, like wants to get a volunteering job or something like that. Or obviously, you said he doesn't come out much, but Jack is a good example. He used to work in an op shop and then moved to something like this. So something, and this does include IT as well. So
yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
Along those lines could be interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
I do know. I used to work at the Salvos, like Danny said, don't get me wrong, and that was fine. But here is like, I figured this is where I belong and this is what I want to do. So let's be realistic about what's making me feel happy here.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. So, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think, I have a question for you, Hayley, if that's okay.
Not a problem.
Do you think you can see an improvement in Blake's behavior? Like you said, he hasn't had a meltdown for ages. But do you think that when he used to have a meltdown, do you feel like that had an effect on you? Like it made you feel upset? Like how did you get through all the stressful moments where it felt like it must have hit you pretty hard? Because I can't imagine what it must have been like for you as his mum.
There were some really difficult times. I'm very, very lucky and grateful that I have a very supportive husband, and he takes on a lot within the home, more so than me, in the fact that Blake reacts a lot more comfortably with a male presence than a female presence. So Adrian does a lot of the school sort of pick up and drop offs and a lot of the caring for Blake. I still contribute, of course, but Adrian is there as my rock and is there for the kids as well. But there were some really difficult times, and I must personally admit that it was really dark and it was really, really hard. And I was just saying to a friend earlier today, there's times in your life where you take it month by month because things are going really well. There's times where you take it day by day, but when Blake was in his really difficult time, we literally took our life minute by minute and second by second, because you didn't know from one minute to the next what was going to happen, whether you needed to drop everything and go and rescue him from the roof of the school, or that he'd barricaded himself into a classroom and was smashing windows, or whether he had run away and you couldn't find him and the police had to get involved and the search helicopters came. So you go from those experiences to now. I just want to share with you that we had a meeting at the school last week with the principal, and first week back at school, change, going from a 6-week break back to the routine of school, and he had a little bit of a meltdown in his own mind on Monday, and rather than him reacting to that and getting angry and aggressive, he went to the principal and said, I need some chill out time. Yeah. So they said, well, what do you need? And he says, I'd like a dark room and to play some music. So they facilitated that. And he came out and he said, well, when I went in there, I was a bubbling pot. I was about to boil over with my anger. And now I'm just a little simmering pot. So for him to be able to verbalise and understand and self-regulate and to be able to control his emotions is a massive, massive step. And I know that he's now 16, and when we were at the height of our issues, he was 8. So it's been, half of his lifetime that now where we are now. But he's come a huge long way. So I just want to, suppose, share that if people are undertaking a similar sort of issue with a child with issues, there definitely can be a light at the end of the tunnel, because when we were in our dark place, we never thought there could be.
Mm.
Yeah, I would just like to say I'm really proud of Blake. Blake, I mean, when he had that meltdown on Monday, as he said, going to the principal's office, that must have been hard for him himself. But I feel like now that he's gone into that room and he said he wants to be in the dark, like listening to music, I feel like that's his body trying to tell him something. No, this is what's making me feel calm, and this is how I control my emotions, and there's no right or wrong answer. And surely I know you can understand that, Hayley.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's very stressful for parents to see their child like that, but maybe there is a positive way to look at this, to think once he's in that room, he's not letting his emotions get the better of him.
Yes, no, definitely. And different stimulation has a big impact on people. So Blake is very sensory, so he likes the dark. He doesn't like bright lights. He doesn't like having to wear different textures of clothing on his skin. He likes the same thing. He likes the same foods. He doesn't like to change much. So if we can help to accommodate those sorts of sensory needs, then that helps him to be able to cope with all of the other senses that he has to deal with of day to day that he doesn't have as much control over.
Yeah, that is, well, for me, that does sound, a bit upsetting, and I do feel upset for him, and obviously I know you can understand why.
Yeah, it's like the overload, isn't it? When there's too much stuff going on, and what they've been doing as well. And I saw the Raw show. Because I went this year. I used to go by myself when I was younger, but I went with a client this year. It would be last year now, and they have those rooms placed around, and they're quiet rooms. I think that's really good because obviously people there's a lot of people with autism, whether it's on the low scale or high scale. They just go in there for say 10 minutes, and it just levels you back out and come back out again. So just knowing that there is people actually thinking about it day to day and putting stuff like that into place, which is really nice.
Because you do when you're living and functioning normally, I say normally in inverted commas, we can hear a fan in the background or hear a siren go past, and we dismiss that as white noise in our day-to-day. But for someone with autism, all of those things impact their senses in a completely different way. So we sort of brush those off, but a person with autism can't as easily brush those off and has to deal with those senses as they're thrown at them. So being able to give someone with autism a little bit more control over those things allows them to be able to function better on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's really hard because unless you're actually around someone that requires that special attention, you just go about your day and just deal with the day-to-day and don't think about those things. But, one thing that comes to mind is when we were researching a lot of stuff to do with autism, I watched a video, and one of the video, the gentleman said that this child was in the schoolyard, and another child had waved to them across the oval to say hello, but because the autistic child was so engrossed in just trying to get through the day, didn't actually acknowledge or fully understand what the wave was as the acknowledgement, until he had got home and had been home for a few hours after school and then processed that the wave was an acknowledgement of a hello. Yeah. And then he got really upset because he hadn't waved back.
Yeah.
But it was that sensory processing that it didn't happen immediately. It took some time for that processing to happen. And
Focusing too much. Yeah.
And it's the focus and the sensory processing that that I think autistic people have a real difficulty with. And if we as a community can help and give some acknowledgement of that and allow for that to be more easily undertaken for autistic people, I think that would really benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to tell about your picture that you drew? Because obviously with people with autism and stuff like that, they have all these. They're very intelligent. People tend to undermine people with a disablement and think that they're not good at there's not things that they are really good at. And Jack the other day drew a picture of me.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing because Danny's talking about the picture that I drew of him, because I'm a very art painting person. I love doing art, drawing and painting when it comes to painting. So I just thought, I'm going to do a sketch, and I ended up doing a sketch of Danny, and more like a painting really. And I thought, what if he doesn't like it at first? What if he doesn't like it? Then I thought he walks in, he's like, oh, that looks really good. And he's like, holy crap, is that me? And like, it is you. Why'd you like it? Oh, yes, I love it. Great, because I'm going to take it home with me.
Yeah, because I have really long hair, and he did that in it as well. He did my brown hair. And
I was trying to match the shirt that he was wearing as well.
He put the H on it.
Awesome.
I'll show you a photo after as well. He put the chain as well. So.
But I got to tell you, it is quite funny. I couldn't stop laughing.
So is there any other questions, Jack, that you want to ask?
No, I can't think of any. I mean, not for now.
Not off the top of your head?
No, I don't think so.
No worries.
It's a nice platform to come in and just talk and get stuff out there and put it.
Yeah.
When it goes on YouTube, it's very, very nice.
Well, one of my friends who I was in high school with, who was in the education support unit, E16, Julian, he actually had autism, so he was one of my best friends, but his autism was more like high, if you know what I mean, like, because there's all different types of autism, to be completely honest, but I felt a bit sad for him about what he went through, because I'd seen what it did to him for his disability, but he's such a great guy, and I see videos of him sometimes because he's involved with an organisation just like how I am, but it's a different one called Proudly Productive. Yeah, but he's really great. But just because someone has a disability, I'd like to say this just to give this a shout out. You never take it for granted. Focus on the ability rather than the disability.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, because who knows what you can achieve in that moment. And I know it's hard for some parents, but just try and remain positive.
Definitely. I always look at our situation, and then I look at others. And I've got some dear friends that live in Denmark that have also an autistic son, but he's nonverbal. And I look at their situation and I think, oh my gosh, our situation has been difficult, but theirs is, and they probably don't think this, but theirs is worse. And so you look at others and you think, well, I've got it okay. And then it doesn't make everything okay, but it makes things easier to be able to swallow and easier to be able to handle. So people always have said to me, how did you get through it? And you just say, I just took it second by second, minute by minute, and always thought that we just have to do what we can for our son and make it an easier place for him and to help him through the difficult times, because if we can't advocate for our child, who else is going to?
I actually feel, I know that it might sound a bit weird saying this, but from what your situation is, what you've got going on, and from what you've told me, I kind of feel a bit sad for what he's going through, but I think you're very brave at what you do, looking after your son, because it's not that easy being a full-time carer for someone, like, because my mum's a full-time carer for me, and she has been since I was a baby. So she's been looking after me for ages. So she normally takes care of me. But when Mum and I are together, we have so much happiness and so much love to give each other. Mm-hmm. And isn't that what's important here? We're trying to look on the bright side.
Yes, definitely. And, you know, it's special people that have kids that have issues that can help their children to shine. And but, you know, there are services out there that help support, you know, Carers WA, there's the Young Carers program, there's the NDIS offering some support with different funding and stuff like that. So there is support out there. So just to sort of shout out to people out there, if you are feeling that you're struggling, you're not alone, and there are support systems that you can tap into to help you through to get to that bright shining light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, but I have been struggling with some support systems that's been going on. I know it makes no difference towards what you're going through, but I have been struggling with some support systems like the NDIS, for example, because this chair, $25,000 went missing in my plan one day, and my mum found out about it, and she was furious about the whole situation. But thankfully, I got some help, and here I am in my new set of wheels for my chair. And I couldn't be any more happier. Mm-hmm. Yep, so, no, it makes me feel great coming to the radio every day, being here with Danny. You know, I can't imagine working anywhere else. Hayley, this is making me feel like a different person.
That is really great.
Yes. Danny and I were just wondering, do you have any questions for us, or...?
No, not really. I'm just privileged to be here, privileged to sort of share my story, hoping that it will help and inspire others. You know, it is Inspire Radio, and
yeah.
You know, I love the concept, and met with Tris last week, and really want to help to connect him with some people around, not only in Perth but around the world, to help the radio station and help others, and to get some content happening for the station, which is really good.
Yeah, it's actually really great being here at the radio station. I mean, the more I advocate for people who have disabilities, which means just getting them in for an interview, I want to be that person that can show them I'm ready to talk to them about any questions that they've got for us, and I want to hear their story because I'm interested in listening to the story to see how it's going to go.
Well, thank you for coming in today.
No worries
thank
at
you,
all.
Hayley.
Pleasure.
We would just like to say thank you for your time, and thank you for your cooperation for today. But we really enjoyed your company.
Thank you. I love being here too.
And thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm just going to put a song on now. Here's Love Really Hurts Without You by Billy Ocean. Thanks, guys. Bye.